Hello, everyone, and welcome. This is Adel, and I'll be moderator of today's webinar titled Python Fundamentals for Drilling Engineers, presented by our instructor, engineer Omar Abdel Samia, who is a petroleum engineer with 6 years of experience. He developed many data science and machine learning projects, and currently he is pursuing his master's degree in real-time drilling optimization. He has wide expertise in Python programming, data analysis, and machine learning. Before we start our session, I'll just make a small presentation about OPA upcoming service and plans. Here's a list of our upcoming quarter courses. They are live courses in different disciplines like reservoir, production, data science, drilling, and geophysics. We will start our courses. We have already started our courses with two courses, which are the unconventional reservoir that started in July, and the integrated production optimization that started in 18th of July. We have 3 more courses to go. We will conduct AI drilling course, which will be conducted by the same instructor of today's webinar, Engineer Omar. That will start next Saturday. Only 2 days left for this course. And then we will continue our courses with seismic attribute that will start in 13th of August, stack pipe that will start on 13th of September. Here's a package discount on our live courses. You can buy 3 courses and get 2 for free. You will get the 3 courses for $500 instead of $800. So you will save $300 for the 5 courses. Here's our next course that will start this Saturday, AI drilling. You will have lifetime access for course recordings. You will be added to WhatsApp group for technical discussions. You will join our ambassadors loyalty program for extra discounts. And this course is certified using our online credential verification system on our website. You can scan this QR code to register or simply contact us through our social media. Here in OPA, we have conducted more than 50 live courses, which is now converted and available as recording sales in different disciplines like reservoir engineering, G&G, production technology, rig and rigless operations, data analytics and safety. You can also scan this QR code to register in our recorded courses. We also have an app store. This OPA app store is alternative for the very expensive petroleum or oil and gas softwares. These applications are very affordable, and it is specified for specific tasks and is made to resolve and save time and money. So make sure you check our OPA app store. And here is one of our best services, which is mentorship. Mentorship is a one-to-one mentoring sessions by highly experienced mentors. It's like a tailored program based on the mentee's needs. You can request, explain the know-how of a software, guiding on personal data, professional guiding for PhD and master, helping undergrad students in their projects. We have completed more than 50 mentorship program with more than 150 learning hours, and the mentees were from more than 10 different countries. You can also scan this QR code to register. Don't worry, I will send all the links in the chat after I finish my presentation, so don't worry if you didn't scan. And finally, our OPA website, which is opacourses.com, where you can access everything through it, whether you are applying for recorded or live courses. You're applying for internship, enrolling in our free webinars, applying for mentorship program, everything you can, everything you want, you can access it through our website. So make sure you pay a visit. It's opacourses.com. And finally, how to be an OPA ambassador. There are two tracks. The first one is to take one or more courses or just take a mentorship program. So what will you get from being an OPA ambassador? You will get discounts on all courses in the future and group discounts when you invite your colleagues. Thank you for listening. And now it's time for our session. Engineer Omar, you can start your presentation now.
Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, great. So thanks for the introduction. Now we will start with our very first session in our course, which is AI for drilling engineers. But first of all, I would like to highlight that the title is related to drilling engineering in terms of the applications that will be used during this course. The applications will be tailored to the applications will be tailored to drilling engineers or applications in the drilling industry. But the good news is data science and machine learning skills are transferable skills. I mean by that whatever we will apply in this course, in the applications that will be discussed in this course, you can replicate this workflows and these steps in any other problem you face or you would like to try to solve. So first of all, I would like to share my screen. Please let me know if you see my
Yes,
screen right now.
we can see it. We can see
Okay,
it.
great. So the title of this session that I will start the course with is Your Last Introduction to Data Science. And this title, I intentionally chose this title specifically, and I mean it. I will let you think about it for a few seconds. How many of us try to understand what is data science, to get an introductory course to data science, and to get to know what is the terminology used in the industry, what is data science, what is machine learning, what is AI, what is deep learning, what is Python coding, what is explicit programming, all of this stuff. I think everybody of us tried many different introductory courses to understand and to remove the confusion between all of those terms. So my intention and my objective for today's session is to be your last introduction to data science. And I mean by this that after this session, you no longer need to be confused with what is data science, what is ordinary programming, what problems could be solved with data science, what problems fit in data science and machine learning, and what other problems you don't need to get confused and to try to implement machine learning workflows on this, which is simple problems or even complex problems, but they are not solved with machine learning and data science. So what is the objective of this session? Simply why to learn data science as a petroleum engineer. What is the data science life cycle? What is the roadmap you need to follow to build your skills in data science and machine learning? So first of all, why to learn data science as a petroleum engineer? When we try to understand and to get ourselves familiar with data science, we don't mean to make a complete career shift to work in IT industry or something like that. The objective of learning data science, in my opinion, you should have two objectives. Either to understand how machine learning works so you can build a judgment on whatever tools you face and to build your skills to have a judgment when, for example, a software you are working with or a service provider is coming with a tool or a solution, what is called a data-driven solution. You should build the fundamental knowledge that allows you to judge this solution and to see if it's logic, if it's in non-logic, if this solution makes sense, if it doesn't make sense. So this is the first objective. The second objective is to make it clear for you if you have an idea, how to implement it. If you have a problem and you want to solve it using machine learning or data science, you should be on the track on how to figure it out and how to solve this problem. So the objective of learning data science as petroleum engineers is not to shift our careers, but is to do those two things. Okay. As we all know, machine learning data science became very, very familiar in our industry. This is a simple research. I did it on OnePetro. If I wrote just data science as a keyword, I got almost 63,000 papers. If I wrote machine learning, for example, I got almost 3,000 papers. So there is a lot of booming in this trend, but we need to have a technical judgment on what is useful and what is just theoretical. Also, by the way, if you would like to get involved more in machine learning and data science in the oil and gas industry, SPE provides different types of magazines. You may be familiar with Journal of Petroleum Technology or JPT, oil and gas facilities, and they have a recent publication, not very recent, almost from 6-7 years, called Data Science and Digital Engineering in Upstream Oil and Gas. So you can follow these magazines to get updated with different machine learning and data science applications in our industry. So now, what is machine learning? I don't know what is your technical background specifically, but I will try to explain it in very simple words. What is machine learning? When machine learning fits, when machine learning doesn't fit. So the old paradigm of programming was called explicit programming. What I mean by explicit programming, I mean, if you want, for example, a simple example, if you want to calculate the speed of a car, if this is the problem you are trying to solve, if you are given the distance the car moved, and you are given the time it took to move this distance, simply you can explicitly program a code to solve this problem, to calculate the speed of the car by simply dividing the distance by time. So this is very simple, but I mean this, as long as you can write the code explicitly that solves this problem, this is not a machine learning or AI problem. On the other hand, when it is a machine learning problem, for example, if you have an apple like this, a photo of an apple, and I want to write a code to identify if this photo is an apple or not, can you give me any logic code to steps to follow so that a program can identify if this is an apple or not? Please feel free if you would like to share any thoughts. Anyone want to volunteer? Okay, so I will move on. So there is no explicit code that can identify if this is an apple by simply trying to say if it's red in color, this is an apple. If it's rounded, it's an apple. There is no explicit code can solve this problem. So how we can solve this problem? People try to solve this problem in a reverse approach by giving a lot of pictures, a lot of info, a lot of data, and try to make a model that fits in a correlation between the inputs, which is the photos of an apples with different shapes and sizes and so on, and the label that this is correctly an apple or it's not an apple. trying to predict this correlation between the inputs and outputs is machine learning. This is the difference between explicitly writing a code to follow the steps and to think about the problem as a machine learning problem. So there is a golden rule. If you are trying to identify whether this problem is a machine learning problem or not, whenever it's an art more than a science, machine learning comes into play. What do I mean? When I ask you how you figure it out, you say, this is my judgment. I have no clear rules or steps to follow to say this is an apple. So this is a machine learning problem. But for example, on the other hand, if I'm calculating the velocity of a car, there is a clear rule. There is distance and there is time and there is clear judgment on how to calculate and solve this problem. Okay. So what is a data science project life cycle? What are the steps of a of a data science project? It starts with business understanding, data mining, data cleaning, data exploration, feature engineering, predictive modeling, and finally, data visualization. We will go through each one of these steps. So to start a problem or to start a data science project, first of all, you need to understand your problem. What is the problem you are trying to solve? And ask yourself the right questions. So this starts with business understanding. You should understand the industry you are solving a problem in. For example, the oil and gas industry, for example, the drilling industry, and so on. So you should start with asking yourself questions. Either you are given a data set and you are trying to figure out what good questions you can solve and you can answer from this given data set. For example, you are giving the drilling data set of 100 wells. You record drilling parameters like weight on bit, RPM, ROP, rate of penetration, what is the lithology you are drilling, and so on. And you are trying to answer based on this given data set, what analysis and what questions you can answer. This is the first approach. The second approach is you have a question in your mind. For example, what is the relationship between rate of penetration and the weight on bit applied on the bit? So you are trying to figure out what is this relation and to answer this question. So you start with having questions in your mind, then you try to collect the data relevant to solving this specific question. But asking the right question will help you focus on how to do your analysis and what data you exactly need. The second step is called data mining. What is data mining? Simply is to collect the data and scrap, you mean to handle or process the data necessary for your project. So after you decided what question you have in your mind and what data set you need to collect, what data set you need, so you start collecting your data. This step is called data mining, which is the second step. So what tools do we use in data mining? To answer this question, you should know what type of your data is stored in what type of thing. For example, if your data set if your data set is stored in a database, so to solve this problem, you need to learn SQL, for example. If your data is stored on a web, like Facebook, Twitter, Amazon, and so on, you use techniques like web crawling or web crawling using Python. If it's stored in Excel sheets, you simply don't need anything. You just enter the Excel sheets. For example, if they are unstructured data or images and so on. So you have to know what type of containers that stores your data. And based on it, you should learn the skills needed to extract this data. Then after extracting your data, you should follow a data cleaning procedure. You should clean your data to make sure that your data is in good terms and in good shape. For example, you can do the data cleaning step with Excel or with Python. I mean here, when I mention the tools that we as petroleum engineers, when you have a problem, you should know first what tools you will need to use in your project. So, for example, if you are fine with Excel, you can do it with Excel. If you are familiar with Python, you can do it with Python, and so on. Then the second step comes after it is called data wrangling. Data wrangling is another terminology for steps 2 and 3, which is data mining and data cleaning. They call it data wrangling, and just mentioned the term to be familiar with later on. Data wrangling took different steps, almost 3 steps. First is to gather the data, to collect the data you need. Then to assess the data, identify any problem in your data. If you have missing data, if you have duplicates in your data, and how to deal with this. All of this we will learn throughout the course. Then you clean the data to remove outliers, make sure that your data is in perfect shape. After this, after you have a clean data set, you start doing exploratory data analysis or data exploration. What is data exploration or EDA? You try to find patterns between the parameters you are collecting. For example, if you have a data set for drilling, what is the relationship between the lithology you are drilling and the applied weight on bit or applied RPM? What is the relationship between the formation and the rate of penetration, and so on? You try to understand the data set you have in order to better understand your problem. Then you start visualizing relationships between your parameters. The objective of this step is to build the intuition about what you are working with, what is the data you are working with, and what is the problem you are dealing with. After this, you start to remove the outliers and perform feature engineering. To remove outliers, irrelevant data, to make sure that they are excluded, and so on. Don't be disappointed. This process is a continuous process. You can iterate, and after you reach this step, it may appear that you forgot some sort of parameters or some sort of data. You need to get back and get this data into your data set. What tools do you need or you usually use in data exploration? You use tools like Excel or Python, Tableau, Microsoft Power BI. All those tools can serve the purpose of data exploration. You should not be familiar with all of this, but the objective or the takeaway is whenever you need to do a specific job, you have to know what kind of tools you will get back and learn. So for example, if you are doing a data exploration problem, you should know that, okay, I will get back and learn, for example, Excel or Python, and so on. Then the fifth step is feature engineering. After doing exploratory data analysis, you start to create different features or different parameters to be used in your model or in your analysis. Or, for example, you can reduce the number of features. So, for example, to decrease there's different algorithms used in feature engineering, like principal component analysis, for example, to reduce your number of components or to make your algorithm faster. There is another algorithms like correlation coefficients to try to understand what best features solve your problem or are directly correlated to your problem. Then after this, after you analyze your data, you start to create predictive modeling. What is predictive modeling? Here comes the term, which is machine learning. Machine learning is building a predictive model, a model to predict the future, predict unseen data. So to start building a predictive model, this comes after a long journey, as we discussed with all the previous steps. There are different predictive modeling approaches, but mainly there are machine learning and there are descriptive statistics. Descriptive statistics, what do we mean by descriptive statistics? Is not just not prediction, but giving insights into your data. For example, what is the average value of your parameters? What is the distribution of your parameters in terms of standard deviation, and so on? So this is just descriptive, not predictive. So on the other hand, you start to build predictive models. What I want to mention here is it's not obligation to complete the whole life cycle of a data science project. For example, your objective may be in this problem is to just analyze your data and get some sort of summary about your data set. What is the conclusion you observed? Not always you need to build a predictive model. So don't get confused or don't get biased to building complicated models that may not fit your problem. After this comes the data visualization part. After you finish your analysis or finish your work, you need to make sure that you have the skills to create a visually appealing and a visualization that delivers your message and tells your story. And by the way, data visualization is a skill and it's a science you need to learn, and it has fundamentals you have to learn, and we will learn throughout this course. So let's get a sneak peek about how to create a visually appealing chart. Here's an example chart. If you opened a journal, for example, or a website, a news website, and you saw a plot like this, and the title is a tremendous increase in oil production in our company, and you have to see this figure. What do you think about this figure? Do you think it's correct? It's the correct way to visualize your data? If anyone want to volunteer, or I will give you just a couple of seconds to think about it. Is there any problems with this plot? If anyone want to volunteer?
Yeah, there's a
You can
problem.
unmute yourself now.
Okay, go ahead, please.
Yeah,
Is this
from
is
just
this? Yes, go
yeah,
ahead.
it's Muhammad. Yeah, from just me observing the data. The date is from October 21st to January 23rd, but in between you have February and you have July and then December. So it's not a good way of representing the data, from my opinion.
So your concern is related to the date displayed on the chart. Is that correct? Okay, any other comments?
We have a reply from Engineer Sadaqat in the chat. He said that the chart should include water and accompanying gas as well.
Okay, good insight. Any other comments? I mean, does this chart delivers the message correctly, or it's a little bit sneaky or misleading? Anyone want to volunteer? I will read the chat. Why this chart goes up and down within short period? So assuming this is the correct data, this is the correct figure of production of the company. Assuming this is correct. Okay, I will cut it short. The insights we gave are perfect, but let me add some other comments. The first is, when you see this plot, for the first from your first look on this graph, you will expect that the company's production is almost duplicated without reading all the labels and all of this stuff. When I see this plot, I will assume that the company's production is duplicated. Okay, is this the right message? Actually, no. the company's production raised from 52 to almost 58 or 59,000 barrels. So the incremental gain or the increase in production is almost 10% or maybe 15 or 20%, not the double. So this is the first concern about this chart. This chart is lying, or it's giving a misleading observation. So from this, we will learn a principle in analyzing or in visualizing our data, which is called the lie factor. What is the lie factor? This is simply an indicator of how your chart delivers the message and how much exaggeration or lie did your message, did your chart put on this message. So what is the lie factor? It simply means the size of the effect shown in the graphic divided by the size of the effect shown in the data. What does I mean by this? The effect shown on the graphic is almost a duplication. The chart almost raised to the double. Okay, so this is on the chart, or this is the effect on the visualization. What is the effect on the real data? The effect on the real data is I just raised from 52 to 58,000 barrels, which is almost 10% or 20% as mentioned. So to calculate the lie factor on your visualization, which is a very important indicator on your visualization, is you simply, for example, the minus or get the difference between the second value minus the first value, or the difference on your chart over the first value. So what does I mean? For example, assuming that starting from the baseline, which is 50,000, this is the baseline of your. Do you see the cursor of my computer?
Yes, we can see.
Oh, cool. Starting from here, and say, for example, this is the distance between the baseline and the initial rate of the company, and this is the distance between the baseline and the current production after the company's production increased. So this difference, assuming this is with inches or with centimeters for simplification. So assuming this is 8 centimeters or 7 centimeters, and assuming this is 2 centimeters or 3 centimeters. Let's get back to this. So the effect on the visual is 7 centimeters minus 1.5 centimeters divided the initial or the first value, which is 1.5. So the effect or the increase shown by the visual is almost 367% increase. However, if you get back to the data, the actual data, you raised from 52,000 to 58,000. So if you would subtract 52 from 58 and divide it by the initial value, which is 58, you will get 12% increase in the data. So the real increase in the data is 12%. However, you tried to visualize it on the chart as 367% increase in the visual. So the lie factor here, if you divide both numbers, is 31.8, almost 32. This is your lie factor. The lie factor to make a robust and an honest visualization that delivers your message should be around 1.5 maximum. So if we converted this chart as you see, and we redraw it like this, what do you think about this visualization? This delivers the message that should be delivered. Our company showed a good improvement in the last quarter. This is not a tremendous increase. This is a good improvement. Your company's production increased from 52 to 58. So this conveys that your company's production increased with 12%, not almost with 300%. Did you get my point? So in this course, we will start to learn how to judge our visualizations and how to create visually appealing charts and visualizations that tell your story and convey your message clearly without any confusion in your plot. So this is the seventh step in the data science life cycle. What is a data science team, or to solve a data science problem, what your team should be composed of. Your data science team should be composed of the data scientist who will implement the code, who will develop the algorithm, but it should have also as well the business expert, the guy who know the details of the business you are working in and the details of the problem, the technical problem you are trying to solve. To make not a data-driven solution, but a data-driven / physics-driven solution, which is the most accurate solution, and this leverages and gets the most out of data science and building machine learning models. For example, if you don't have the technical judgment on the problem you are working with, there is a correlation. We are just data-driven guys. There is a correlation between ice cream and sunburn. So as ice cream melts, people got sunburn on their skin. There is 100% direct correlation. But does this mean that sunburn causes ice cream to melt? No, absolutely no. This is ridiculous. But what we learn from this is correlation doesn't imply causation. So for example, as long as sunburn increases and ice cream melts, there is correlation. But this doesn't mean that the cause of melting the ice cream is that when you are eating the ice cream, you got your skin sunburned. So you have to have your technical background and technical justification beside solving your problem as a data-driven problem. So to wrap it up, there is a lot of platforms you can learn on and to continue your journey on. And what I intentionally wanted to deliver from this introductory session is, as I mentioned, your last introduction to data science. This is the whole life cycle of a data science project. There is no obligation to start from step 1 up to step 7. You can choose whatever fits your problem. So for example, I can have a problem, some questions in my mind, and I collect some data that suits my questions and clean the data, explore the data and get insights, and I'm done. I don't need to make feature engineering, for example, or building predictive models. Another problem, you could have some insights and you should know some data visualization skills to deliver your message. Another problem may have, you want to build a predictive model, a machine learning model. So this comes in this step, but you should know each step, where it fits in, what prerequisites of this step you should follow to reach this step, and what tools you need to learn to solve your problem and do the system. I hope this is clear. I hope this removed some confusion. The next step in removing confusion in terms of data science, machine learning, deep learning, AI, what is the differences between all of this? This will be our first lesson or our first session in the course, inshallah. But we will not have time to cover it today. So this is a quick introduction to all the life cycle. We will follow this life cycle throughout our course. We'll start to learn skills for each specific step and how to solve an end-to-end problem, starting from business understanding until cleaning and collecting your data, exploring your data, building a predictive model, then delivering a visualization that delivers your message. We will create end-to-end projects to solve and to practice this workflow. So now, hopefully you are excited enough to see what are the content of our course. So let me share it. The content of our course specifically will cover the following topics. First of all, to build or to make all the dreams you have in your mind, we need to start with understanding Python as a programming language. So we will have a dive deep into learning the fundamentals of Python. We will learn from the very beginning, from scratch, what is data types, what are data structures, what I mean by data types is everything you need to know about the different data types used in Python as a programming language, what operations are done on each data type, then how to put your data types into data structures, how to collect the different data types into what is called a data structure, and what are the data structures used in Python as a programming language, like, for example, lists, tuples, dictionaries, and so on. What are the differences between each one of them? What is the lists? What is list comprehension? And also, what is control flow structures in Python as a native in the Python programming language, like conditional statements, if, else, loops, for loops, while loops, and all control flow in Python. Then, after covering the fundamentals of Python as a programming language, we will jump into the libraries into Python, how to deal with libraries and how they make our lives easier, how to introduce or import a library. We will fundamentally work with pandas, NumPy, Matplotlib. Pandas is the analog of Excel sheets, but in Python, how to deal with tables in Python. This is related to pandas as a library. We will learn about it in details. Then we will move to starting the fun. We will start with Python for data analysis, how to use Python for data analysis, and how to start implementing the workflow and the steps from 1 to 7 that we already talked about. What is the life cycle in details and how each step is done with practice? What is the data analysis process? And we will practice on real data sets to try to investigate and explore different data sets using Python, pandas, Matplotlib. And then we will learn how to create data visualization and what is the techniques of, or what are the techniques of data visualization and creating a visually appealing plot that delivers your message. Then we will dive into machine learning theory and practice. We will start to know what is machine learning, what is deep learning, what is all the terminology. All of us get confused in what is AI, what is machine learning, and so on, and what each algorithm fit in, what type of problems are solved with each algorithm. So after this, we will learn how to select the optimum algorithm for your problem. Then I will give you, let's call it a cheat sheet or a template for machine learning codes. The codes, they are pre-written codes to do every step you could deal with during your machine learning project. I mean codes or templates for data cleaning, templates for feature engineering, codes for building all types or the most common types of algorithms like linear regression, logistic regression, k-means clustering, support vector machines for random forest, and also starting with machine learning, neural networks, convolutional neural networks, recurrent neural networks. I will give you templates, pre-written code to simplify the process of creating your solutions, and to focus on tailoring the solution on your problem, other than spending a lot of time in building the code from scratch. So this will help you get a pre-written code that solves this problem or do this task, and just configure it or tailor it to solve your problem. Then I will talk with you about creating an end-to-end project, starting with data pre-processing. We will cover topics like train test split, categorical features, how to deal with categorical features, dummy variable trap, what is dummy variable trap and how to avoid it, feature scaling, and so on, and all the other tricks you need to know to build your machine learning model. Then train a model and test its performance, and fine-tune its hyperparameters to make sure you get the optimum results from your model. So this is the content we will cover, inshallah, during our course. This part will be you will have hands-on practice by a project with real data and drilling, starting from A to Z, to starting from collecting the data up to building your model and validating its results. So this is the course content. Hopefully you are excited to start. We can start today with just 10 minutes to cover the very beginning of the content of our course, which is Introduction to Python as a Programming Language, and what are the data types. So we can jump to this session. It could take about take about 10 minutes or 15 minutes. I'm reading the messages. Muhammad is asking, can we get the software? Yes, sure, you can install your software. So once we start the course, you will start using your software. The software that we will use during this course is called Anaconda. And we will use, as a programming platform, we will use Spider. So the software that, I'm sorry, I closed the discussion. Let me get back. What's the course fee, sir? Okay, we will discuss it later. Okay, so the software we will deal with. Let me share my screen. This is Spider. The software itself is called Anaconda, and the platform we will select from the Anaconda package is called Spider. This is the interface of the software. You can simply, it's an open source software. You can simply write on Google search Anaconda free installation, and you will get the link to install Anaconda, and you will have it on your device. And when you launch the Anaconda Navigator, you will get an icon called Spider, or a software on this platform called Spider. You can open it, and this is what you will get, and this is the platform we will be using throughout our course. So now we will start with our very first lesson in the course, which is fundamentals of Python programming, and starting with data types. Before starting with data types, I will give you a 1 minute break to make sure everyone is focused. So this is right now, it's 7:52. We can start at maybe 8 sharp. We will continue. This session will take almost 10 to 15 minutes. It's just a quick session about the fundamentals of Python to get a flavor of what you will learn. So see you at 8 o'clock. Okay, welcome back. Shall we continue?
Yes, please.
Okay, so now we will start from scratch, from the very beginning. What is the fundamentals of Python programming as a language? We will start with the first thing you should know about Python programming, which is data types and what are the operators used for each data type. So what you will learn is the different data types. Let me convert my pointer. So the data types used in Python, there are basically 4 data types, 4, not 3, not 5. They are 4: integers, floats, booleans, and strings. What operators do we have in Python as a programming language? They are also 4: arithmetic, assignment, comparison, and logical. Then what is the built-in functions in Python, and what are the guidelines of white space and style guidelines? So we will cover for today, we will cover the different data types and the different operators used for each data type. So before we start, throughout our course, throughout the 5 days, we will take help from ChatGPT. All of us should previously have used ChatGPT. It's very powerful. It can help you save your time in building the code, but you should be familiar and you should understand the code it gives to you. So ChatGPT is used to accelerate writing your code, but you are the driver. You are in the driver's seat. You should understand and you should have the judgment on what results does ChatGPT give. So to have this judgment, you have to understand the fundamentals, and this is what we are going to do throughout this course. So we will not avoid using ChatGPT. No, of course, we will use it, but we will use it while we are fully aware of what it is doing. The installation and the workspace, as I mentioned, we will choose Anaconda. And we will install it. I will provide you the link to install Anaconda, and we will use Spider as development or an IDE. So starting with the operators, as we mentioned, there are four operators. There are arithmetic. Let us remember, there is arithmetic, assignment, comparison, and logic. So we will start with arithmetic operators. This is very simple. Like in simple mathematics, we have the addition. This is the operator. Subtraction, multiplication, and division. All of us will be familiar with those 4 arithmetic operators, but this may be not very familiar. So what is the mod? The mod is used to get the remainder from dividing. So for example, if you divided 3 by 2, you will get a remainder of 1. Why? Because the 3 consists of 1, 2. I will give you another example. If we divide the remainder of 5 divided by 2, the 5 contains 2 whole 2's. 2 plus 2 equal 4. Then the remainder is 1. So if we get the mod of 5 by 2, it will give us 1. For example, what this operator could help us to identify. For example, if you want to make a code to see if this number is even or odd. Any even number, the mod division of this even number with 2 will give 0. But any odd number, for example, 3, 7, 9, and so on, the mod of the division will be 1. So this could be a logic to spot if the number is even or odd. This is just an example. Another thing, another arithmetic operator is called the exponentiation. In Excel, or what we are familiar with, is the hat sign. In Python, the hat sign doesn't work. To make an exponentiation, a number to the power of another number, you should use 2 asterisks following each other. So this is for exponentiation. The hat doesn't work. This is the division, but if you use double slash or two the division marks, this gives you the division, then round down to the nearest integer. Let us give a brief or a flavor of how the course we will use or we will follow in the course. So we will implement with Spider. So I will get to Spider to make you see the results of what we are doing. Can you see my Spider interface right now?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. So later on, we will have a good introduction and explanation to the interface of Spider, but for now, I will work and you just get to see the results. But during the course, I will make sure that we will have time to make sure that everyone is familiar with the interface. So if we want to try the exponentiation, if I want to make 2 to the power of 2, for example, or to the power of 3, if I wrote the hat sign as we do in Excel and try, this is not what we want. This is not what we expect. 2 to the power of 3 is 2 by 2 equal 4 by 2 equal 8. So this is not the answer we are expecting. So to make the exponentiation, we do double asterisk. So if we write a double asterisk and 3, you will get 8. This is the correct result you are expecting. So this is an arithmetic operator we tried. The remainder or the mod, for example, if you get the mod of 7, an odd number, then followed by the percent sign, which is the mod, by 2, and if you press enter, you will get a result of 1. Why? As we mentioned, 7 consists of 3 2's. 2 plus 2 plus 2 equals 6. Then the remainder is 1. So this is the 1. If you tried, for example, an even number, for example, 8, then we tried the mod of 8 by 2, and we press enter. Any guess what is the result? You guessed correctly, it's 0. So this could be a trick used for spotting if this is an even or an odd number. What other arithmetic operators we would like to try? We can try the remainder or the that divides and rounds to the lower number. So for example, if I wrote 8 divided by, this is divided, one divided sign, one divide sign, 8 divided 2, the result will be 4. But if I did, for example, let me give another example to be clear. If I did 8.5 divided by 2, the result is 4.25. But if 8.5 divided 2, the result will be 4. Why? Because it divides 8.5 by 2, then it rounds to the lower number. So it rounded it to 4 instead of 4.25. Hopefully you get the idea. I will get back to the presentation. So the arithmetic operators, we covered the arithmetic operators. Let us move to variables and assignment operators. What is a variable and what is an assignment operator? A variable is like any programming language. If you store in an X a value of 500, X is called a variable, and when you say X equal 500, you assign or use the equal sign, which is an assignment operator. You assign 500 to whatever in the left. So this equal sign, which is called an assignment operator, it stores whatever in the right and stores it in whatever in the left. So if you use print X to see the value of the variable X, you will get the result of 500, which is stored in the variable X. Another thing, this may be confusing. If you write Y equal X in simple mathematics, Y equal X should be the same like if we say x equal y. This means that both sides are equal, but this is not correct in programming or in Python. Why? Because equal here is an assignment operator. So what does it mean? It takes whatever in the right-hand side and stores its value in the left-hand side. So it will store x in y. So x here, as we defined it earlier, x equal 500. So when I say y equal x, this means that it will store the value of x, which is 500 inside of y. So if I print y, I will get a result of 500 as well. But if I wrote, instead of this, if I wrote x equal y, it will get an error. Why? Because it has no idea what y should be or what value y have. If this is somehow confusing, let's try it. I will get back to Spider. If here I write x equal 500 and press OK. So now I will have in the variable explorer a variable called x, and the value stored in it is 500. If I wrote y equal x, here what I want to say, what I did is I want to store the value of x in y, so this will work properly. But if instead I said x equal y, will this work? Any guess? Anyone want to guess? If I wrote x equal y and I pressed enter, it will give me an error. It will tell me y is not defined. I have no idea what is the value of y to store it in x. I have no idea. So x equal y is not the same as y equal x. Hopefully this is clear right now. So if I did it, y equal x, now x value will be stored in y. So what we learned here is equal sign is called an assignment operator. Why? Because it assigns the value on whatever right-hand side to whatever in the left-hand side. So this is an assignment operator, which is the second type of operators in Python. Okay. Another way of defining variables faster, instead of, for example, saying x equals 3, y equal 4, z equal 5 in 3 lines, you can write it with commas, x, comma, y, x, z equals 3, 4, 5. This will do the same functionality. However, it says above is not a great way to assign variables because variable names should be descriptive of the values they hold. What does this mean? You should not define variables called x, y, z, and so on. You should define names of the variables with a meaning. For example, number of wells, average production, something that is clear and intuitive. This is just for clarification, but x equals 3 will work anyway. So this gets us to what is the name, to how to name a variable in Python. Naming a variable have guidelines. So what are the guidelines of naming a variable in Python? Only use letters, numbers, and underscores in your variable name. You cannot use any other thing. You cannot, for example, use a $sign or a score or hash sign. You only can use ordinary letters, numbers, and underscores. Naming a variable in Python cannot have spaces. You cannot write, for example, well space name. You should use well name side by side, or you can use an underscore to separate the two words. Need to start with a letter or underscore. You cannot start with a number. You can start with a letter or an underscore. However, you can use a number inside the variable name. Also, you cannot use Python's reserved words or keywords. For example, if you are familiar with any programming language, there are reserved words like if statement. We use if for if statement. So you cannot define a variable called if. This is a stored value or a name with a meaning inside Python. So you cannot use it as a variable name. Okay, so there is a list of reserved words. This is the list of reserved words in Python. You cannot use those words as variable names, it will give you an error. However, for example, if you used false 1 or false 5 or false underscore, any variation in the name, it will work. We will try this on Spider when we will have another explanation and another elaboration on this. So back to the variables naming guidelines. The Pythonic way or the best way to define a variable name is to use all lowercase and underscores to separate words. Why we use, or it's a good practice to use all lowercase, because Python is case sensitive. So for example, if I get to Python to explore what we are saying, if I said X, let me give you another, for example, f equal 5. And I stored a variable called f, and I stored a value of 5. It's case sensitive. So if I wrote f small and try to see its value, it will say it's not defined. It must be f capital, not f small. So Python is case sensitive in variable names. So the best way to avoid any conflict is to use all underscore, lowercase variable names. Okay, let me get back. So this is some examples of naming. If you say my underscore height and give it a value, this is a good way of a variable name. This is a good way as well. This is a good way as well of defining a variable name. But what are bad examples of Python names or variable names? If you use a space in the variable name, this will not work. If you use all uppercase letters or one uppercase letter, it will work. It will not give you an error, but it will not be a very good practice to do, because it will be confusing to remember as a variable name it was uppercase or it was lowercase. So go ahead with using lowercase and you will not be confused. Another assignment operators, and I will end today's session to not make it long today. I will end with another assignment operators. Like the equal sign, you can have plus equal or minus equal. So what this could be used for, if I said x equal 500, then I want to increment the 500 value with 100, for example. What way I can do is I say x equal 500 plus 100, or x equal x plus 100. So if we tried this on Spider, so here, let me try it. If I said x equal 500, so x here, its value stored is 500. If I want to increment it with 100, extra 100, I will write x equal x, which is 500 plus 100. So this will increment it with 100. So now x is 600. Another simpler way is using the assignment operator of plus equal. So if I said x plus equal 100 plus equal, it will understand this is the exact format of this. This will do the same functionality. So it will increment it from 600 now to 700. If I press enter, now it's 700. So it's a simpler way of incrementing or decrementing your variable. So another assignment operators are the equal, plus equal, and minus equal. Minus equal is to decrease it with the value of 100, for example. So those are the assignment operators in Python. So now we covered arithmetic operators and assignment operators. We will not have enough time to continue for today. Hopefully, you got a flavor of how our course will work. We will start from scratch. We will build on this knowledge, and we will continue to build a good understanding of Python programming. Then we will dive into data analysis, and we will dive into machine learning and building end-to-end machine learning workflow to solve a real-world machine learning problem. This is the end of today's session. Hopefully you got you got a good knowledge or a good flavor of the course. If you have any ideas, any thoughts, any recommendations, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Engineer Omar, for this fruitful session. It was really fruitful. Now it's time to fill the feedback form that I've just sent in the chat box, and then we will be able to receive the attendees' question or any concerns about this webinar. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Just 1 minute, I will publish it. Okay, now you can access the feedback link. We will just have 2 minutes break until you prepare your question and fill the feedback form, and then write your questions here or just raise up your hand and I will enable the mic for you. About the recording of today's session, yes, we will share it in the webinars group. So make sure you joined it, and we will share everything there. And for the certificate, you will only be eligible to get a certificate if you join through our website. So you should visit the webinar page tomorrow on our website, the 107th free webinar page on website tomorrow, and you will find a certificate of your attendance. Okay, 1 minute, I'll send the link now. Okay, now it's time to receive your questions. Please, if you have any question regarding today's session, feel free to ask. So, any questions?
Also, you can have share thoughts about what expectations do what knowledge you would like to know in the course. If you have any recommendations, what topics you would like to be covered, so on. So a question is, does Python helpful for real-time drilling data analysis, like to use for calculation lag time, same application, malfunctions, cake sheet preparation, and etc.? Of course, Python is helpful in this. My master's degree is in developing real-time drilling optimization workflows. So Python has a lot of applications specifically in drilling, or specifically in the industries with a lot of data and with operation. Operation means a lot of sensors, a lot of data, a lot of recorded data, and a lot of historical data. You can leverage all of this to automate your work, make predictive models, and so on. How can learn such steps? To become user, of course you can. During the course, we will build a problem build, starting from identifying the problem and solving the problem. We will make an end-to-end project related to drilling on how to predict the rate of penetration using the available parameters from the rig. And after this prediction of ROP, we can build on it to make optimizations and see what operation or what parameters you can use to maximize your production, your drilling rate, and so on. So we will see. We will cover a real problem and how to tackle it step by step. Any other questions?
Yeah, we have a question from Joe Muhammad. He is asking, is data visualization part of the course?
Yes, during the data analysis part, we will learn how to analyze the data, how to create data visualizations, and what best practices like the life factor we introduced today. We will know best practices to create plots, and we will use a library called matplotlib, which is a Python library specifically used for data visualization.
Okay, that's great. Okay, I think this is all for today. Thank you, Engineer Omar, for this great presentation.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all for attending. Just a kind reminder of our next course, which will be conducted by the same instructor of today's webinar, Engineer Omar Abdel Samia. The course titled AI Drilling that will start this Saturday. If you want to enroll in it, you can message us through any of our social media